The curtain comes down on the regular season this weekend for one of the premier conferences in college basketball. Star power and storylines abound. Number 6, West Virginia, and number 17, Oklahoma State, as the Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy rolls on from Morgantown, West Virginia. You're watching the Big 12 on ESPN. The Mountaineers could lock up the number 2 seed in next week's Big 12 tournament in Kansas City with a win today against the Cowboys. And the Cowboys can finish as high as a 4 seed if they could beat West Virginia today and get some help from TCU, who plays Texas tomorrow. Coming to you from our home to yours alongside Fran Fraschilla in Texas. I'm Rich Hollenberg in Florida. And Fran, Oklahoma State and West Virginia come in, arguably the 2 hottest teams in the Big 12.
Both playing really well. Mike Boynton's teams are 13-5 in the final 2 weeks of the Big 12 regular season during his time. But Cowboys are a little shorthanded today, Rich.
Yes, and to your point, the biggest star on the stage will not be in action. That being Cade Cunningham, the Player of the Year candidate, ruled out of today's game because of rolling his ankle on that play late in the second half when he stepped on Davion Mitchell's foot from Baylor. So he is out. Ice likely is not going to play as well. What does that mean for Oklahoma State today, Fred?
Well, they'll be back for next week's tournament, according to Mike Boynton. But this is a young team, Rich, with guys who are really starting to grow up. Avery Anderson's got a huge role today, the really improved sophomore from Justin, Texas.
Now, the other big headline, of course, Bob Huggins on the precipice of win number 900 in his career. The West Virginia grad got his first head coaching gig all the way back in 1980 at Walsh College in Ohio before moving on to Akron for 5 years, then taking the Cincinnati job, a 16-year stay there, and after 1 season at Kansas State, Huggs came home to his alma mater in Morgantown, where he's amassed 309 wins as a Mountaineers head coach for the last 14 years, 899 wins in all for the future Hall of Famer.
Well, you're right, Rich, about coming home. This is a guy that was born in Morgantown, grew up on his grandfather's lap over in Dug Hill on the east side of the city, listening to West Virginia Mountaineer games back in the late 50s and early 60s. He understands the history of this program better than anybody, and he may make a little more today.
And alongside Roy Williams, he's one of only 2 coaches to get 300 wins total at 2 different schools. He's done it now at West Virginia and also at Cincinnati. And there's Mike Boynton. He is just starting his coaching career in his 4th season in Stillwater after 1 year as an assistant there for Brad Underwood. Turned 39 this past year, but as you mentioned, Fran, he seems to get his Cowboys playing their best late in the season when it matters the most.
Well, Mike Holder, the outgoing athletic director, hired the version of a lottery pick. Not a lot of experience, but a lot of potential and talent, and Mike Boynton has delivered for Oklahoma State and the Cowboy basketball program.
So as Fran and I told you, no Cade Cunningham, no Ice likely. That's a star-studded backcourt for Oklahoma State. So in their stead, Mike told us that a couple of players are going to be looked to step up. Avery Anderson and certainly M.A. Moncrief getting the start this afternoon as well. Oklahoma State in their road orange, and it's the gray home unis for the West Virginia Mountaineers who control the opening tip.
Well, I see 2 freshmen and 2 sophomores in that Cowboy lineup. Again, this team has grown up under Mike Boynton this season. Good challenge today.
Here's Taz Sherman, one of 2 seniors for Bob Huggins, getting the start on senior day. And he travels on the opening possession for the Mountaineers.
Well, keep in mind, he's not just getting the start on senior day, Rich. He has had an absolutely terrific senior season. After we watched him and Sean McNeil kind of grow up last year as juniors, 2 junior college transfers, and actually McNeil's only a junior now.
There's Rondell Walker, 5 in orange, and that deflected out of bounds by Gabe Osabuoyen, and that is a specialty of Gabe Osabuoyen, who's getting the start as well as a senior.
I think he's heading towards 150 deflections this season. Amazing. He gets his hands on balls. He disrupts your offense. And one of the things you noticed right there is Mike Boynton, Rich, over the last part of the season, really likes to get the ball inside to Caleb Boone, who's on the verge of setting a field goal percentage record for the Cowboys.
Yeah, both of these teams like to get in the paint and get to the free throw line. Eight on the shot clock for the Pokes. Here's Moncrief, puts it up and got the foul.
And a terrific job of splitting that ball screen coverage right there. And M.A. Moncrief will go to the line, a freshman from the Toronto area who was twice the Canadian National High School Basketball Player of the Year. And by the way, the high school that he went to, Rich, has produced a couple pretty good players. Jamal Murray's not bad. Thon Maker, and then Lou Dort, who's doing a nice job for the Oklahoma City Thunder. You've heard me say this, the Toronto area is absolutely loaded with basketball talent.
No doubt. M.A. Moncrief going to be called upon for some major minutes this afternoon on this shorthanded Oklahoma State crew. He now has the first 2 points of the game in the first minute of the game. And for West Virginia, we mentioned it is senior day in Morgantown. So not only is Taz Sherman starting, but Gabe Osaboyan is starting. We expect to see Sean McNeil and Derek Culver in short moments. Here's Jalen Bridges.
Yeah, zone defense.
That ball off the mark, loose ball, corralled by Avery Anderson. And Oklahoma State pushing the tempo, which is something they do better than any team in the Big 12, Fred.
Yes, they do. They get up that court quickly, and their average offensive possession is about 15 seconds.
Another empty possession for the Mountaineers.
Yeah, with these athletes on the floor, I expect them to get out and run a little bit today and try not to have to set up against that half-court defense of West Virginia.
Trapped down low, and Moncrief turns it over.
I wish you would have realized that they had the possession arrow, and a jump ball right there would have given the ball right back to them.
Deuce McBride left all alone, and normally Deuce McBride is automatic. But that time it goes over the backboard and out of bounds, so it'll be Oklahoma State ball with a 4-0 lead.
And Bob Huggins was not particularly happy with his team's performance against TCU on Thursday, Rich. They ended up winning by 9, but he was not pleased with the win, and that's kind of how he does business. It's more about process than it is results sometimes.
Here's a quick trigger three. Saved but out of bounds, and West Virginia will take over possession. They start the game 0 for 4 from the field, and this has been a much improved West Virginia offense this year compared to the last few years for Bob Huggins.
Well, this might be the best offense he's had since 2010, the Final Four team, Rich. There's no doubt. Their outside shooting has been outstanding, and Culver gives them that presence inside as well.
Emmett Matthews takes it strong to the hole, and he gets 2 free throws for his efforts. To prove the point about West Virginia's improved offense, you just need to look beyond the arc. They were 30% as a team before the new year, and ever since Oscar Tshiebwe left the program and transferred out, they've been above 40% from beyond the arc.
Yeah, they play a different style, obviously, without the big guy who's gone off to other places, actually Kentucky. And I don't know that they're better defensively without the big fella in there and Culver, but they are definitely better offensively. It's more of a 4-out lineup. Bridges has been a big revelation, the redshirt freshman. And Rich, on a day where Bob Huggins is trying to get number 900 and maybe a spot in the Hall of Fame, it just goes to show you how this team morphed over the course of the season.
You'd have to put this year up with some of the best in Bob Huggins' 39 years as a head coach. There's Bernard Kuma with 2 from close range.
I like this kid. He's only a sophomore at South Plains Junior College. He's now 11 of 14 on the season. He's got great hands for a young big guy. He's from the country of Chad.
Bounce pass, almost turned over, saved by Matthews. On the wing, and Emmett Matthews knocks down a triple.
Rich, he's been the unsung guy for Bob Huggins' team. Bob loves his defensive ability because he can guard multiple positions, but offensively he's starting to give them more and more. Doesn't look for his shot, but he makes them better and more dangerous offensively than they already are.
Moncrief. Now they're working it inside. Kuma, the skip pass. And it's pinned by Matthews.
That's exactly what we were talking about. He can guard 5 positions. That's a third. Oh, that was a violation.
Almost. It'll be West Virginia ball regardless.
Yeah, watch him inside now. Gets beat on the baseline, but stays vertical, leaves his feet second, and a terrific play by the junior from Tacoma, Washington. Originally signed at UConn, got out of his letter and ended up here in Morgantown.
And how about that triple from the corner? Taz Sherman has a chance at a 4-point play when we return with 15:59 to go.
The Tasmanator knocking it down.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5 Hour Energy, the official sponsor of Getting Stuff Done. And in part by DiGiorno. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. Moments before opening tip at West Virginia Coliseum, Taz Sherman and Gabe Osaboyan, the 2 seniors for Bob Huggins, were honored with their jerseys and hugs all around from Hugs. And yet, Fran Fraschilla, you seem to think that it would be not only a good idea, but a great idea for Taz Sherman to come back next season.
I would never tell a young man what to do, especially if he could get to the NBA or maybe the G League. But this is a young man that last year as a junior college transfer only averaged 5 points a game. This year he's come into his own, Rich. He's only 21. He turns 22 in July. And listen, he could go across the water and play in places like Denmark and maybe Belgium and make $4 or $5 grand a month for 8 months. Nothing wrong with that. But I think it would benefit him if he chose to take the free year the NCAA is offering and come back and help this team get to another Final Four potentially and continue to improve his basketball potential after college. He's had a great senior year, the transfer from Collin County Community College in Dallas.
I would exploit.
I would exploit West Virginia in the NCAA if I were him.
There's a nice take by Avery Anderson, his first 2.
Boy, Avery continues to have a great sophomore season.
I was going to mention a moment ago, number 1 for West Virginia, Derek Culver on the floor now for the first time. Five minutes in, West Virginia ranks 6th in the country, taking on Oklahoma State, ranked 17th in the nation in the Big 12 regular season finale for both. Alongside Fran Fraschilla, I'm Rich Hollenberg. The 2 big headlines in this one, Fran. No Cade Cunningham, who's nursing a sore ankle that he hurt their last game against Baylor, and his backcourt mate, Ice Likely, also sitting this one out with an injured ham. Both should be available for next week's Big 12 tournament. And then on the other side of the ledger, the future Hall of Famer Bob Huggins going for win number 900 in his career today.
Yes, I was at the Baylor game against Oklahoma State. As you see, Bob Huggins, a lot of family here today in anticipation of another milestone in his 39-year career. But Rich, at the end of the Baylor game, when Cade Cunningham sprained the ankle, my first reaction was, well, we're not going to see him on Saturday. And Mike Boynton told us today that it swelled up Thursday night in Waco. They stayed overnight. They flew here yesterday, and he was walking normally. And Likely and Cunningham should definitely be ready for next Thursday's opening quarterfinal round. And smart move. There's no reason to play him today or Likely.
There is seeding at stake for both of these teams. If West Virginia wins, they lock in the number 2 seed, and Joe Lunardi says they could move up to the 2 seed line in the NCAA tournament. For Oklahoma State, they have a chance to get as high as a 4 seed in the Big 12 tournament next week in Kansas City.
Yeah, and I think 4, 5, and 6 for them, which they're locked into now, is the perfect reason why you don't play Likely and Cunningham today. It's not going to make a big deal. Obviously, 4 plays 5 6 plays 3. The teams are really relatively balanced. So the key now is the health of both players going into the NCAA tournament.
Bridges off the mark, but it's scooped up by Sherman. And a foul at close range will send Derek Culver to the free throw line.
What a season Derek Culver has had, the junior from Youngstown, Ohio, Brewster Academy. Right now, one of 2 players in the country, Rich, that are averaging a double-double. The young man, I think it's Justin Champagny up at Pitt, is doing the same. And the interesting thing about Culver as we watch him shoot free throws is he's on a hot streak from the free throw line.
No doubt.
He's only shooting 61%, Rich, but his numbers go up and down like a roller coaster in terms of the foul line.
Yeah, he's 17 for his last 20 after that make that we just saw. And the broadcaster jinx comes into play, so we're tied at 10. Sean McNeil on the floor, number 22 in gray for West Virginia. And the left hand from Culver again.
Well, Derek didn't start, so he's kind of making up for lost time right here. But he is the reason why these outside shooters have had so much success. The floor is spread. He doesn't get doubled as much. And if you choose to double team Derek Culver, he's a good enough passer to find one of those 4 guys on the floor usually who can really knock down the 3-ball.
And what a monster game he had the last time these 2 teams played in Stillwater. 27 points, 19 rebounds for Culver.
No question. And an incredible comeback. The first of 2 historic comebacks this season on the road, down 19.
They go inside again, as both teams are wont to do. And Derek Culver gets the foul drawn on M.A. Moncrief.
Well, he was a monster in that game where they came back from 19 down in the second half. And look at the numbers. He's had a tremendous season. And he's had a tremendous run against Oklahoma State. I remember his freshman year, Rich, when he shot 24 free throws in Lubbock, made 16 of them against an eventual Final Four team. But I think his offensive game has really smoothed out this year in the low post.
11 double-doubles this year for Derek Culver.
Comes out of one of the great prep school programs up in New Hampshire, up in Wolfboro, Brewster Academy, which has produced the likes of Devontae Graham and Donovan Mitchell, among others, playing in the NBA right now. Jason Smith, the coach up there, has done an amazing job.
Moncrief, aggressive, and he knocks it home.
I'll tell you, he has a great motor for a young player, which is what endeared him to Mike Boynton when they recruited him. Relentless effort.
Culver, talk about aggressive Derek Culver in the spin cycle.
Yeah, this is child's play right now for him. The doubles are coming late. And remember, both Boones go about 205 on a good day. So Derek, whoever's guarding him, the Boone twins, Kumra, they're going to struggle unless Mike Boynton chooses to change his defense. And they may have to double team if Culver starts to work these inside players the way he has. Take a look. Watch the patience now. The footwork has really improved. He can spin off either pivot foot. He can use either hand. And he takes the ball right through the defender's chest and uses his own physicality in order to eliminate any kind of shot blocking.
And that 3 knocked down after Derek Culver had put up 7 straight points for West Virginia. Now Avery Anderson has 7 of his own.
That's a guy that shot 2 for 26 from 3 last year. I talked to Mike Boynton early in the year. I said, what do you think the difference is? He said the game's slowing down for him.
We've got a stoppage of play, 11:34 to go. A good one against a pair of top 20 teams. West Virginia up 1 at home. Welcome back to the Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. We've got a good one from Morgantown, West Virginia, ranked 6th, up 1 on 17th ranked Oklahoma State. And that lead is due in large part to Derek Culver, who scored 7 points in 7 minutes and now stands on the precipice of 1,000 for his West Virginia career, friend.
We might not see him back in this first half because Bob Huggins traditionally is very conservative playing guys with 2 fouls. He's not happy right now, Derek Culver, about a call out on the court, but it'd be interesting to see if Bob needs to use him. Doesn't like to play his best guys with 2 fouls.
Now let's see if Caleb Boone can go to work, and he does right away.
And he is going to break the record unless he goes, I got to figure this out, maybe 0 for 40, 0 for 30. But Keontae Roberts has the all-time field goal record for Oklahoma State at 62%, and this guy's hovering around 67.
Bridges almost got called for the 3-second violation in the paint. Here's McNeil.
Love this start for the Cowboys, Rich, and I love this guy.
Taz Sherman has his 2nd bucket of the afternoon.
Unrecruited out of Missouri City, Texas. Went up to Dallas, where he played for Jim Sagona, terrific JUCO coach. No offers of any consequence as a freshman. Sophomore year, he blew up to the point where a lot of high majors were after his skills.
That one is blocked. Bridges gets credit for that block, and here comes McNeil. Once again, if you're just tuning in, no Cade Cunningham, no Ice Likely. One of the best backcourts in the Big 12, if not the nation, sitting this one out. Minor injuries, they'll both be available for the Big 12 tournament, but not here in the regular season finale against West Virginia. And yet, Mike Boynton's got his Cowboys hanging tough with the Mountaineers, Fran.
Well, these young kids have grown up. We've watched it all year. We mentioned Anderson, Moncrief, Walker, Kuma today, the sophomore big man who is giving them some good minutes in the last couple games. No, this is a team that's really continued to get better and better this season. And they
life in the Big 12,
yeah,
never gets easy, huh?
No, not this year. The entire schedule has been one big gauntlet. Oh, great fake. Nice block.
Look at those teams, Fran. All of these ranked teams that they're playing, and Mike Boynton's got 5 wins in his last 6 games with these Cowboys.
Now, let's take a look right here. I think this is Keelan Boone coming from the weak side. The smaller of the 2 Boone twins.
And Taz Sherman from downtown.
The Tasmanator, watch out. Don't let the Tasmanator start cooking. He was cooking against Baylor.
I'm anticipating Tasmanator t-shirts in Kansas City now.
I should have copyrighted Press Virginia when I had the chance, Rich. A forgotten lost opportunity, man. Don't remind me. Oh, send it in.
Dunk. Caleb Boone has his 2nd bucket of the game. And Fran, you mentioned how good he's been from the field. He's 2 for 2 today. 14 of his last 17 from the field.
Keontae Roberts, sorry, buddy. Your record's in jeopardy. Pretty much over. It's been a good run.
Oh, pocket picked. And here's Sherman.
Nice pass.
Leaves it for McCabe.
Good decision by Taz. First he went Euro on the defender. Then he realized he was going to have to make a tougher shot than dropping it off to Jordan McCabe. And good piece of unselfishness there by a guy that loves to put points on the board.
Here's Boone. Spins in the paint. 3 for 3 now for Caleb Boone.
Sweet fake right there. And I think I got Keelan mixed up with Caleb a little earlier. That happens on occasion, but
oh, look out, Fran.
Tasmanator.
11 first half points already for Taz Sherman, and the lead for West Virginia's up to 4.
The question is, will we have 2 senior days?
I think there's a lot of seniors who are going to have 2 senior days next year.
I think they should take advantage of it. Now, listen, if you can go make money, and I'll counsel you if I think you can make money in Europe. But if you can't, come on back. I mean, we know Boone's coming back. Caleb Boone getting getting it done. We've seen this all season long, but Taz Sherman, yes, it's senior day, and he's having some senior moments right now.
Thank you, KC, and let the debate rage on all season long. Who's better conference-wise, Fran? Big 12 or Big 10? And here's a look at bracketology from Joe Lunardi for the Big 10 conference.
Yeah, and listen, Ken Palm has the Big 10 clearly the best league. Big 12 has not ever been lower than the second best league since 2014. Here's the difference. The Big 10 has better big guys. There's no question. When you think of Garza and Dickinson and Travion Williams, Tracy Jackson Davis, the guard play to me. Yeah. Did I mention Garza? Yeah. But the guard play in the Big 12 to me is better. 17 roughly of the top 20 players in this league this year, in my mind, are guards. We can argue about a spot or two, Rich, but I just absolutely love the guard play from Baylor, from Texas, from West Virginia, from Oklahoma State when Likely and Cunningham are out there, from Oklahoma, Marcus Garrett and Christian Brown up in Kansas, Ochai Agbaji. So, we can argue about which league is better. One has 14 teams, one has 10. 7 of the 10 teams in this league are headed to the NCAA tournament. Most are high seeds, but it's been a dominating year by both leagues in college basketball. And I bet Cade Cunningham would agree with me.
Yeah, no doubt. He's a finalist for numerous awards, including the Naismith Player of the Year award. That's narrowed down to 10 semifinalists, as we see Jordan McCabe, who's dealing with an injured back. Wasn't sure if Jordan McCabe was going to get much run today, but he's in there for Bob Huggins, and he has 3 early points.
Yeah, he's the only pure point guard on this team, and the big thing behind the scenes is the players love him, and they really have confidence in his ability to run the team. And the coaching staff does as well. Good look.
Inside.
Yeah.
Off the hands of Moncrief, out of bounds, and it's an Oklahoma State turnover. So West Virginia with a 5-point lead has a chance to extend that lead with 7:06 to go, as Bob Huggins sits on 899 wins.
It's amazing. This guy grew up, born in Morgantown, grew up on the lap of his grandfather, listening to Mountaineer games over on the east side of Morgantown, over in that Doug Hill area. And he's been a Mountaineer through and through. And when we talk about coming home, he played here as well. He truly has come home and become a natural resource for the state of West Virginia.
Here's Moncrief. Nice. Good take by M.A. Moncrief.
Terrific. He's going to be an outstanding player, Rich. I watched him a couple years ago at the Nike Hoop Summit playing for the international team, and the thing that jumped out at me was his high energy and just warrior mentality.
Pull-up game from Miles McBride, who's one of the best mid-range shooters in the country.
Can he score at all 3 levels? Isn't it fun to watch him?
No doubt.
I'm having fun watching that guy. Avery Anderson continues to get better. He's going to be a star in this league his last 2 seasons.
Yep.
Oklahoma State. Yeah, a lot of zone today, Rich. They play about 30% zone. It's been really effective lately.
McNeil in and out. Chance to tie with a triple for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, you like those baseball analogies. So Mike Boynton's got a pretty good fastball, not a great fastball. And so that zone is the curveball, the changeup to the man-to-man defense. They use it well.
Here's Anderson, 13 on the shot clock. He's got 9, make it 11 for Avery Anderson.
I'm telling you, Rich, he's been hiding in plain sight until the second half of the year. And he's going to be a star someday as long as he keeps working and improving the way he has in the last 12 months.
Came in shooting 50% over his last 3, but there's an answer from Taz Sherman, who leads all scorers with 14.
Family came in on Thursday to watch him play and didn't have his best game, a single-figure game, but he's making up for it today.
Well, coming up later today, our full day of college basketball across all our networks, highlighted by these two key matchups on ESPN. Number 4 Illinois taking on number 7 Ohio State. That's at 4 Eastern. Then Duke and North Carolina squaring off again. The Tar Heels took down the Blue Devils by 4 back on February 6th. That one is a sonic blockbuster. That jumper is short. And the follow
Good effort. Yep, good effort.
Underneath, and they get it to go.
And that was started by M.A. Moncrief, Rich, but again, this young team without 2 stars, really, they're 2 stars and one of the #1 pick in the NBA draft. They've done exactly what Mike Boynton hoped that they would do when we talked to him this morning.
Yeah, Keelan Boone with that last bucket.
Yeah, no surprise. This is a competitive group of junkyard dogs.
Down just 2 and a chance to tie or take the lead here. No Cade Cunningham, no ice likely. So far, not much of a problem for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. But they turn it over there. Here's Kedrian Johnson. And the finish by Emmett Matthews.
Kedrian Johnson is like Sherman and McNeil from a year ago. The JUCO transfer from Dallas, Texas. Creating a little excitement in here. Take a look right here. Watch the dime drop. That's easy. I could dunk that one. Nah, probably not.
Thank you, Casey. And as they were talking about, Oklahoma State is in the tournament right now. Joe Lunardi has them as a 4 seed, but maybe a surprise to people just tuning in. Leading scorers today are guys who were plugged into the starting lineup who don't normally start. Avery Anderson for Oklahoma State, Taz Sherman for West Virginia.
Yeah, and I think the guys in the studio recognized how energetic and defensive-minded this Oklahoma State team has played today with a cast of young players. But also to the point that Coach Crispin made was you got to take care of the ball a little bit. And there you see Kedrian Johnson, who is in that same mode as Sherman and McNeil last year, Rich, in that not playing a ton right now. But Bob Huggins has had a lot of junior college transfers through the years, and that senior year is the year you really make your mark. But this young man comes out of South Oak Cliff High School. You know who played at South Oak Cliff High School?
You're going to tell me.
Dennis Rodman.
How about that?
How about that? Along with, by the way, Darrell Arthur and the great Tony Battie, who is one of the outstanding players to ever play at Texas Tech. But great high school basketball in Dallas. And Kedrian Johnson, just keep your eye on him next year.
Big 12 overflowing with Metroplex talent.
No doubt.
That 3 cuts the lead in half for West Virginia.
And that's the perimeter-oriented Boone.
Keelan's got 5.
Yep, and the percentage is not high this year, but he can really shoot it, and his effort defensively has been really good.
Yeah, just his 11th triple of the year, but Mike Boynton told us he's going to be counted on today, and he's delivered so far Sean McNeil's first bucket of the afternoon.
Well, you know Sean McNeil's always going to deliver, because that shootout we had on Tuesday here in Morgantown with Baylor was unbelievable, man. The shot making, this is just a different West Virginia team.
That one almost a turnover. Oklahoma State already with 10 turnovers so far. That's been the one fly in the ointment so far for them. And that's nothing new for fans of the West Virginia Mountaineers, forcing turnovers or causing turnovers, although this year the defense a little bit down and the offense way up for Bob Huggins.
Way up, yep. And as I've said many times, Rich, when you get into tournament play, you have to be able to score the basketball. I'd rather be a better offensive team in tournament play, because you get to the Sweet 16 and everybody defends and you have to make shots.
Well, Bob Huggins knows all about the Sweet 16. 9 times he's taken teams there, 4 Elite Eights, and then those 2 Final Fours back in '92 with Cincinnati, and most recently in 2010 with Deshaun Watson, or Deshaun Butler, of course, and the West Virginia Mountaineers.
Pretty good team. Yeah. Johnny West was on that team. John Flowers, Joe Mazzulla, Devin Jones.
Off the window, in and out. And it's going to be West Virginia basketball with a 5-point lead and 2:33 to go in the first half.
I don't know if you were surprised a couple weeks ago, but I was when Bob Huggins said Sean McNeil is the best shooter he's had at West Virginia. That's saying a lot when you think of some of the guys who've come through here. Alex Ruoff, Gansey, some good shooters here. Of course, Javon Carter became a tremendous shooter. The two guys that left in the tuxedos could shoot it. Terry Henderson and Harris, who went up to Michigan State.
There's a turnover by West Virginia. Gabe Osaboyan grabbed the rebound, but shuffled the puppies.
Rich, I told you we would not see Derek Culver with those two fouls.
Correct. Caleb Boone.
Look at this guy, man. He's heading towards 70% the way he's going. What a season.
Now for Boone.
What a season he has had. Came in today's 60s. Yeah.
Yeah, Fran, about midway through the season, we talked to Caleb Boone, and he took it on himself. He said, it's no one's fault but my own. I'm in my own head. I need to just go out and play and listen to the coaching staff, and he has responded.
He has. He stepped up. He said it. What a shot-making game this has turned out to be.
Yeah. Offense is clicking, 39-34 after that Emmett Matthews bucket. All alone in the corner. Triples off the mark, but an offensive rebound. And here's another three. That one no good. Rebound Osaboyan. Under a minute to go in Morgantown. Don't leave that guy alone.
Good look. I'll take it. Yep. Little 2-for-1 situation right there. They'll probably get the last shot now.
About an 18-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Caleb Boone just thinking buckets, and Kedrian Johnson picks his pocket.
Oh, another nice pass.
Matthews misses.
I'd hold it here. There you go. Get the last shot. Good job. Didn't have numbers.
9 steals for the West Virginia defense.
You know, your two best playmakers are out today. They've still done a good job, Oklahoma State, and don't want to foul there. But they had one to give.
So that foul is going to go on Johnson.
Actually turns out to be a good foul with the offensive player heading downhill. So now they'll have to inbound at the Cowboys underneath and get set.
5.5 to go in the first half. Pair of top 20 teams in Morgantown to close out the regular season in Big 12 play. There's a triple off the mark. Kuma follows, but it's off the front rim. And we go to halftime with West Virginia ranked 6th in the country, up 5 on Oklahoma State without Cade Cunningham and Ice Likely. But Avery Anderson stepped up with 11. Taz Sherman leads all scorers with 14. The E-Trade halftime report coming up after this. The Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy rolls on from Morgantown. You're watching the Big 12 on ESPN. You're not watching Cade Cunningham play, the projected first pick in the NBA draft, sitting this one out with a little bit of a sore ankle, but not much of a problem for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. They're down just 5 to the West Virginia Mountaineers. Alongside Fran Fraschilla, I'm Rich Hollenberg. So no Cade Cunningham, not much of a problem for the Cowboys, and maybe a little bit of a surprise as to who's leading these two teams in scoring in the first half, Fran.
Well, both of these guys have really started to play well down the stretch of the season. Avery Anderson for Oklahoma State, we've chronicled it all year. The sophomore from Justin, Texas, more efficient, Rich, knowing how to use that speed in the open court. He's 5 of 6 from the field, a big reason why the Cowboys are shooting over 50%. But when you talk about West Virginia and how they have morphed into an offensive team, sure, McNeil, McBride, but also this guy, Taz Sherman, the senior from Missouri City, Texas. giving Bob Huggins the needed offensive lift they were looking for with Derek Culver in foul trouble in this first half.
Avery Anderson getting the start because not only is Cade Cunningham missing this game, but ice likely his starting backcourt mate out as well for the Cowboys. Bob Huggins 20 minutes away now from win number 900 in what is certainly going to be a Hall of Fame career. As you mentioned, Oklahoma State's shot it well, but they've also turned it over a lot. 11 turnovers in the first half has led to 9 West Virginia points off of those turnovers. And for Bob Huggins' club, Fran, they have taken good care of the basketball. Only 2 turnovers for the Mountaineers.
Right, and what they've got to do is get the ball inside to Culver, who had a great stat line going, but only played 4 minutes because of the 2 fouls.
Boone lost it out of bounds, so making an even dozen turnovers for the Oklahoma State Cowboys, who averaged close to 16 a game. And they get it right back. Moncrief. West Virginia wanted a travel. Instead, they get a foul call.
Watch this little Euro step right here by the young man from Toronto. Avoids traveling, and Jalen Bridges picks up a foul. M.A. Moncrief, Matthew Alexander. And there is a connection in family to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikhil Alexander-Walker up there in Toronto. But he played at Orangeville Prep, which has turned out to be one of the powerhouse basketball programs in North America right now.
Moncrief 1 for 2 from the line. He has 7, and it's a 4-point West Virginia lead.
Remember, Culver had 7 points in 4 minutes, Rich, and that's another sloppy play.
The throw ahead.
Watch out.
And there's Anderson. He has 13. And
Watch
it's a
out.
2-point game.
Yeah, this young team has talent now. You know, it's hard to win games in the Big 12 when you have this young a team, but what Cade Cunningham has done for this team, Rich, is really give these guys a lot of confidence throughout the year. You see they're sitting in a little 2-3 zone. They match up out of it. Sometimes they pick up man.
McNeil off the dribble.
And Sean only had 1 field goal in that first half.
Moncrief with the take.
Boy, that was strength right there. Took that ball right at the defense. You can see what I meant when I told you that he plays with high energy.
Mike Boynton wants his Cowboys on offense to go downhill, and that's what they're doing. And a foul underneath.
Watch this drive to the basket by Moncrief. Puts his shoulder right into Jalen Bridges' chest. And while he falls down, Bridges had no chance to get a piece of that shot. Nice.
They go right inside to Culver.
Yes, they did.
Flush.
Oh, the middle of the zone, the defender there, I think it was Boone, fell asleep, so they just lobbed it right over the top.
And that was a 1,000-point plateau crossed with that bucket by Derek Culver. Congratulations to him as Moncrief answers with another bucket of his own.
Rich, let's go back and watch this. The defender is not ball you man. See, he's not even paying attention to Culver. So the inbounder realizes that, and you can get that against teams. We're watching the finish right here, but we used to just make eye contact between the inbounds passer and the big guy. If the defender's not watching Culver, we would eyebrow, you know, we give him the little high eyebrow, like, look up, because I'm throwing it up there. And that's great nonverbal communication right there.
And now Culver playing with 2 fouls, but his adversary, Caleb Boone, now saddled with 3 fouls. That's something to keep an eye on.
It's going to give Kuma a chance to get more minutes because I like him.
Deep 3 around and out. Great follow by Emmett Matthews, who's having a good afternoon with 11.
Well, Bob Huggins said last week on his coach's show that he is the most underappreciated player on the West Virginia roster, Emmett Matthews.
Nice take there. That's Bryce Williams with his 2nd field goal of the game. Deuce McBride, he was held in check in the first half, only 2 points. And Culver gets the foul. Well, Fran, we documented this in the first half when Derek Culver went 3 for 4 from the free throw line. Just a 61% free throw shooter coming in. but he's made 19 of his last 24.
Are you serious, America? Oh, you can't teach that.
And Culver knocks down 1 of 2. He's in double digits with 10. And a pair of blockbusters coming up after us on ESPN.
And Rich, to your point, Derek Culver went 14 of 17 from the line against Florida. Then he had another 13 of 18 stretch. Then he had a 15 of 22 stretch. He was 6 of 14 at TCU. So I don't know who the shooting coach is there. but he's really inconsistent.
Spin cycle for Deuce McBride.
You know, I think Bob Huggins still might be the best free throw shooter in Mountaineer history. I could be wrong, but at one point he was right there at the top.
He was the player of the year coming out of high school in Ohio, where he played for his dad, Charles.
Yes, he did. Indian Valley South High School.
He could play a little ball back in the day, could Bob Huggins.
He tells you that. Oh, another
Loose
turnover.
ball picked off by Oklahoma State.
Oh, this is a lousy effort by West Virginia. Where are the defenders? That ball was stolen, and there were 3 guys just standing around in the backcourt. Take a look, Rich. Wants to turnover now. Let's see if we can see the ball's going to be turned over right here. And then Culver reaches in. 2 other guys are in the background, and basically it's a 4-on-2 right there. Bob Huggins not going to like that when he watches that on film.
And that'll send M.A. Moncrief to the line. 54% free throw shooter, and now he's 1 for 3 so far this afternoon from the stripe. Moncrief has a couple of double-doubles to his credit in Big 12 play this year. Having a good afternoon today, especially in the absence of Cade Cunningham and Ice Likely.
5 of the 6 top scorers for the Cowboys are freshmen or sophomores. Obviously Cunningham one of those guys, but they still have players on the court who have really grown up this season.
And another turnover by West Virginia. They had 2 in the first half. They have 4 already this half, Fran.
Yeah, now if Cowboys take care of the basketball, they're shooting a high percentage so far. They're up at 56%, Rich. Good skip.
To make it a 1-possession ball game. Offensive rebound. The tap. Another follow. It goes out of bounds, and it will stay Oklahoma State basketball. The 17th ranked Cowboys. They've won 5 of their last 6, trying to make it 6 of 7 against Huggy Bear. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. And by the Mesquite Butter Bacon Cheeseburger, only at Sonic. Alongside Fran Fraschilla, Rich Hollenberg, you're looking at a display case featuring the logo, Jerry West. One of, if not the greatest players of all time, and certainly a legend in Morgantown, number 44. And yet, there are certain people, Fran Fraschilla, who say he shouldn't be the logo anymore.
Don't get me started on that. That means we shouldn't. So the MVP of the NBA playoffs shouldn't be Bill Russell either, because none of these young guys have ever heard of him. So, no, I'm good with the logo. I'm good with Russell. I'm good with the old timers. We celebrate the new guys too. I don't want to give away about 20 pairs of NBA socks that I have in my drawer right now. Stop the nonsense. And by the way,
my boys would love to wear those socks.
Yeah. And by the way, I've started this book on I'm digress real quick. KG, Kevin Durant, and the chapter in there about Kobe Bryant is unbelievable. It's just worth the price of the book. But we miss Kobe terribly. There's many ways to honor him. I'm good with the logo right now. By the way, speaking of that, Rich, you and I were talking about this because there is this could be a historic day. Although the way Oklahoma State is playing, they may ruin the day, but I think Bob Huggins will get a statue outside WVU Coliseum someday.
No doubt.
Without a
Barry
doubt.
West has one.
Yep.
Ron Huntley has one. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
There he is.
Yep. Born in Morgantown.
By the way, I love what you said. I think it was the last time you called the West Virginia game without me. You said, depending on his mood, he's either a teddy bear or a grizzly bear.
Well,
but in both ways, he's Huggy Bear.
Well, you know, Tony Caridi, the play-by-play guy, calls him the bear.
Yeah.
And it depends on what time of the day, you know. If it's at practice for 3 hours, 2 hours, he's the grizzly bear. Get him away from basketball or away from the court, and he's certainly he's a big teddy bear.
His team is in a bear fight right now, tied at 48 after that bucket.
Rich, I am not surprised. We mentioned this earlier. Mike Boynton is 13-5 in his 4 seasons at Oklahoma State in the last 2 weeks of the season. Good season or bad season, he has his team playing hard at the end of the year, which is a total compliment to him and the connection with his players. And he may be without his 2 key guys, their 2 best players. He has always managed to keep his team together at the end of the season.
And take a look at that third line. Since 2012, Oklahoma State has a better record in Morgantown than any other team in the Big 12. And Mike Boynton's been a part of a couple of those big victories.
Yes, he has. His kids play hard. They get better. They're athletic. It's a good nucleus being left behind when Cade leaves. That's not a smart move.
Kuma with 3 fouls gets the bucket.
Yep. The big fella's going to work today.
That's their first lead since 17-16 in the first half.
You know, he was scheduled to go to Illinois, and they had an eligibility snafu, so he wasn't able to get in school and fit in nicely at Oklahoma State.
Well, Bernard Kuma's got a career-high 8 rebounds, and now he's got 4 points after this bucket.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed his hands. He's got great hands. He had 2 baskets the other night at Baylor. He played for one of the great JUCO coaches in the country, Steve Green, out at South Plains. And Cade Cunningham, who has really been a great teammate this year, is enjoying watching his buddies battle West Virginia the way they are right now. Tough shot.
Yeah, the Mountaineers cannot find the bottom of the bucket to start this second half. Another West Virginia turnover.
You made that point. If they won't turn the ball over, there's a stoppage right here.
And look at the disparity. First half turnovers, 11 for the Cowboys, only 2 for West Virginia. In this half, roles reversed. 5 turnovers for West Virginia, only 2 for the Cowboys.
Who's that? Doug Sermons right there? I can't tell from behind. It looks like Doug. He's got a stopwatch. He's got a stopwatch he's playing with.
So the game clock apparently never started running after that last inbounds. Oklahoma State, by the way, in the midst of a 7-0 run, spurred by M.A. Moncrief, who's got 16 points so far to lead the Oklahoma State club.
So what you're seeing right now from Doug Sherman, that's a good explanation, Rich. He's got a shot clock in his hand that he's going to use in order to figure out how much time should be put on the clock. So they're using the DV Sport replay equipment, and every official, every scorekeeper has a shot clock, a stopwatch, so they can get it exact. And now Doug Sermons is going to go over, and he's asking the official, he's asking the timekeeper, he said, hey, is this clock up to date? When did you get this? 1998?
Well, I don't know. They've made some significant improvements to West Virginia Coliseum. This is the 50th anniversary of this building that they're playing in.
Looks
Put in
great.
A brand new scoreboard this year, new seats, a dynamite facility.
I snuck in November when I came up for a couple of days to watch these guys practice, and the building does look great. And hopefully we'll have 14,000 in the building next year. But I really like the way Oklahoma State competes, Rich.
Well, they are dominating inside the painted area. 36-18 in that department.
Yeah, and I think what Cade has done this year, even though he's not playing today, he's really given a lot of these guys confidence because he's always looking for them. Nice drive.
Avery Anderson, pretty.
Mark it down, folks. This is like when we've watched Javon Carter as a sophomore, Buddy Hield. You'll see he might even pop up in a couple mock drafts here next week. Who knows the way things go. But in all seriousness, he's just gotten better and better all year. He's really athletic. He's quick, and he's channeling that terrific athleticism.
You know who else was a pretty good sophomore at Oklahoma State coming from the state of Texas? Your boy Marcus Smart, who's celebrating a birthday today.
Yes, he is. 27th. Happy birthday, Marcus. But he came in pretty good, Rich. He came in the way Cade Cunningham came in. And Mike Boynton, he disagrees. What a job Mike Holder did in hiring this guy. You know, Brooklyn, New York, because I'm partial to him. But watch here. Let's see. Looked like a reach in. But they take a chance on him. But it's really interesting about Oklahoma State, Rich, when you think about it. Mike Gundy, first-time head coach. Coach Holliday, the baseball coach, first-time head coach. Mike Boynton, first-time head coach. Just, you know, it seems to have really been a good pattern at Oklahoma State when you think about it. Just a good lesson out there. Some good assistant coaches out there on these high major programs. Particularly some really quality African-American coaches that can get the opportunity like Mike has.
No doubt.
Jerome Tang's ready down at Baylor whenever he wants to lead.
3-point Oklahoma State lead. 7 minutes gone by in the second half. Cowboys have won 5 of their last 6 against the gauntlet that is the Big 12. That one goes out of bounds, and it'll be West Virginia basketball.
Do you agree with me, Rich? You see Jalen Bridges right there. Do you agree with me about the way Avery Anderson has really channeled that speed we saw last year into the player he is now?
Yeah, I mean, he was a little bit of a stallion last year, a little out of control. The game seems to have slowed down for him, and that's hard to say considering the fact that he's one of the fastest kids on the court.
Exactly. He's like a punt returner. Last year he was fielding punts on the 5-yard line instead of calling fair catch. And this year he's kind of more judicious with how he uses that speed. Great high school player in Dallas, 2,700 points up at Northwest High School. Played for Mike Hatch, a terrific high school coach, and now an assistant at SMU. And SMU is recruiting this kid, and when Mike took the job at SMU, Rich, because of NCAA rules, they were no longer allowed to recruit him because the NCAA changed that rule about your high school coach joining a staff and making it a package deal. But Mike Boynton was on this kid early.
And now foul trouble starting to rise up for Mike Boynton. Anderson with 3. There's an easy leave.
Got lucky. I thought he charged.
Caleb Boone in double digits with 10. Largest lead of the game for the Cowboys. 54-49 over 6th ranked West Virginia, with Bob Huggins sitting on 899 wins. Saboyan off the window.
Oh man, that doesn't happen very often. For all the value Gabe Saboyan brings to this team, he just eclipsed his season average.
Almost
with
doubled
that basket.
Now.
Yeah. No, he's been tremendous. Tremendous. Look at this.
Deuce with the steal. And the left hand by McBride.
Interesting. Deuce with the steal. Now he's he wanted an end one there.
Just 6 points for McBride. His team down 1. Keelan Boone for 3.
Great drive along the baseline, and we call that a drive and drift right there. And Keelan Boone, the shooter of the Boones, setting up in that deep corner.
He's put in 20+ minutes the last 2 games for Mike Boynton. Big contributor this afternoon as well. McNeil hasn't been able to find the mark.
Stepped on the sideline. Take a watch. Keelan Boone knocking it down. How about these Cowboys? Impressive.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. These pictures showing proof, if for nothing else, that Bob Huggins once wore a suit and tie when he was coaching basketball games. Now he's famous for the West Virginia pullover, and he has had over 300 wins as a Mountaineer, over 300 wins, nearly 400 as a Bearcat, and he is sitting on 899 wins, but his team is down 4, Fran, with 10:38 to go. 6th-ranked West Virginia struggling out of the gates in the second half.
And we talked about this team. Yes, they're better offensively, Rich, but they're not better defensively since January 1st. And today's one of those days that you can see with the Cowboys scoring almost 60 points already and doing it without 2 guys that average about 30 points between them in Cunningham and Likely. So impressive. I'm not surprised because I've watched these young guys grow up, but they have really done a nice job today.
Keelan Boone rolls off, and here comes McBride up the right side.
How about Avery Anderson?
Yeah, look at the defense.
Yep. How good is that? That's as good a defense as you could play in a possession right there.
10 on the shot clock, and the Mountaineers throw it away. Another turnover. That's number 9 on the afternoon. Well, tomorrow afternoon, it's the official regular season finale for the Big 12 as number 18 Texas Tech takes on number 3 Baylor. And this one has big-time NCAA tournament implications. You can tune in at 4 Eastern, 3 Central on ESPN and the app.
I might be down at that one, too. I have to figure out whether I want to go down there or stay home and watch the doubleheader. Texas goes to TCU, but I'll be well prepared for next week in Kansas City.
Well, there is some seeding left to be determined. Baylor's locked in at 1. The 8 through 10 seeds are locked in. Everything else still up for grabs. If West Virginia wins today, they lock in that number 2 seed, but they're down by 4, 9.5 to go.
And I think, Rich, Oklahoma may be locked in at 7.
Okay.
From what I read this morning. So that they have lost 4 in a row.
Yep.
Look at this effort.
Wide open. McNeil finally gets a 3-pointer to go. That's his first triple of the afternoon. 7 for McNeil, and it's a 1-point game.
Well, there's nobody back on defense. How about that? The effort level today by West Virginia defensively, it leaves you wanting, because we chronicled it early on the turnover, early second half, and right there they just not watch the ball, and Moncrief just he was on I-79 right there with no traffic.
What a feed, big to big, and Osaboyan's got another bucket.
That's the danger of doubling Culver or cutting behind your defender's face if he has the ball.
Into the paint again, and success again for Oklahoma State. A career high for Avery Anderson with 17.
Tremendous. Not running anybody over. He's under control.
And Gabe Osaboyan getting aggressive offensively.
Yeah, watch Avery Anderson now. Goes left, splits the trap to the rim. Under control, no charge. Softly puts it in over McBride.
So Gabe Osaboyan, 5 points already, a chance to add to that, but struggles from the free throw line. West Virginia could really use these in a tight game. That's Roy Williams as he's gearing up for his UNC Tar Heels taking on Duke in Chapel Hill. That's coming up at 6 o'clock tonight. Sonic Blockbuster. Roy, one of 2 coaches with 300 wins at 2 schools, Bob Huggins being the other.
And Avery Anderson continues to wreak havoc with this half-court defense. Again, getting downhill, going by McBride and Osaboyan, who usually is in the right spot at the right time. The angle there is hard to tell, but that's usually a charge. This is a guy that took 23 last year. He's up around that 20 mark this year.
Anderson, the best free throw shooter in the league.
Let's watch this, Rich. It's close. I didn't get a good look at the end. He's got to have both feet firmly on the ground, facing the ball handler before that ball handler leaves his feet. By the way, once he's legal, he's allowed to turn his body. That was too close. We caught that at the very end.
Yeah. Either way, it's a 2-point Oklahoma State lead. Here's Culver playing in foul trouble. And a foul is called. We're at the under 8 mark. Number 6, West Virginia in a fight. 17th ranked Oklahoma State up 2. KC looked like the Lone Ranger, did Ayo Dosunmu. He's a Nate Smith finalist, as is this man, Cade Cunningham, who is watching his Oklahoma State Cowboys with a 2-point lead. And that gets a little tenuous, Fran, because Oklahoma State has some foul trouble and there's still 8 minutes to go in this game.
They do, and you got to think that Bob Huggins will pound that ball into Derek Culver, who now has an advantage, at least in the paint, but then he's going to have to go to the line and make those free throws. But you have to be impressed with the effort of the Oklahoma State Cowboys today, minus Cunningham and Likely. They've played this season, Rich, without each of them, but not both of them at the same time.
Sounds cliche, but it's a next man up mentality for Mike Boynton. He stressed it all year. And you know what? All of these guys, instead of getting a little bitter at all the attention that Cade Cunningham gets, he has lifted them up, and now they are lifting him up.
Well, this guy is lifting up this whole team today, Avery Anderson.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he continues to grow. I don't want to call him a star yet, but believe me, you'll have national folks talking about this guy very soon. It's just lousy passing.
Yes, sloppy pass by Osaboyan. Another second half turnover for the Mountaineers. 8 of them this half.
And Gabe is very reliable. 2-to-1 assist turnover ratio.
A little bit of a heat check from Avery Anderson, but it's tracked down by Caleb Boone. And an offensive foul, and that's going to be 4 on Caleb Boone.
Good call. I thought he was set. Take a look. Caleb needs to be, remember, jump stop here. There you go. Easy call to make. There's no way he should be out of control on that play right there, especially off of a long rebound. Get it back out.
This one could turn into a free throw shooting contest. Both teams over 70% as a team from the free throw line. McNeil short. The rebound, Williams.
That's bad defense. That's terrible defense. West Virginia
transition recovery.
Yeah, Rich, West Virginia had 4 guys in the backcourt trying to steal the dribble instead of running back into the navy blue painted area.
Here's Taz Sherman. Led the team in the first half. Silent in the second half. Culver goes back to the free throw line. Let's take a look at West Virginia's defense, friend.
Watch what happens on this shot, Rich, and watch the gray jerseys right now. They got the ball. One guy reaches, another guy reaches. And now this is how you got transition basketball if you're Oklahoma State. If you don't get the rebound, you get back to the paint, build your defense from the paint out. It's not you're not a toll collector in the backcourt.
Derek Culver now 6 for 9 from the free throw line this afternoon. Avery Anderson will check out. He leads all scorers with 20.
Betty's talking about that jump shot on the other side of the court that was contested. Mike Boynton has a tremendous connection to his guys.
Clutch free throws by Culver. 4 Cowboys have 4 fouls now. No Cunningham, no Likely, both sitting this one out. And someone's going to have a chance to play the hero for Oklahoma State. Up 1 on the road at 6th ranked West Virginia with 6:14 to go.
And I think it's going to be Bryce Williams to transfer from Ole Miss, Tampa, Florida. Looks like the ball's going to get out on the side. Adrian Johnson in the game right now to play defense on the ball.
Nice screen by Kuma. Here's Farron Flavors, and he hits a 2-pointer. The ice cream man.
It's not 31 Flavors, but they'll take 2 right there. And that was just more lack of effort by West Virginia, that time on the defensive glass. Very surprised.
McBride with the mid-range. 8 points for Deuce McBride.
He has a way of understanding the time and the score of the game and starting to take over.
And another foul. It's certainly not a full capacity crowd at WVU Coliseum, but you can hear them in there.
Yeah, Bob Huggins was not happy with the call. Doug Sermon said, "Get back to your cave, Bear." Let's watch. That could have been a foul. There's action down here. Doug Sermon calls another foul. Bob Huggins not happy. Doug Sermon's not happy. And instead of teeing Bob Huggins, he just told the big teddy bear, "Go back to your bench." Good piece of officiating.
Yeah,
could have
good
beat
restraint
easily
by Doug Sermon.
Yeah. He could have teed him in a 1-point game. Didn't need to. There's healthy respect. And see, that's the art of officiating right there. If you're West Virginia, you hate the officials right now. If you're Oklahoma State, you hate the officials right now.
Walker 1 for 2, 2-point ball game, 5.5 to go. Here's Culver. Turned it over. Saved by McBride, and a foul is going to be called on Oklahoma State.
Watch the power of Culver inside now. Let's watch the defense on Culver. Puma. He's allowed to go straight up. I'm not sure if he was totally vertical right there, but you see the contact and the foul call.
And M.A. Moncrief, the first victim of the foul trouble for Oklahoma State. He is done for the afternoon. A great afternoon for M.A. Moncrief, but he's going to be watching the last 5:25 of this one next to his coach.
There's the congratulations for the effort today by the freshman from up in Toronto area. You see Ice Likely coming over. Now this game is starting to switch in terms of its momentum, even though West Virginia trails 1 in the Mountaineers' favor, Rich, because of all the foul trouble. And we know the likelihood is the ball is going to be pounded inside, either by the drive or the post-ups by Culver. You'll see more zone by Oklahoma State in the last 5 minutes.
Tied at 67, coming up on 5 minutes to go. Keelan Boone. Huge three from the top of the key.
That's called a roll and replace. When you have 2 big guys out there, the screener rolls, the other big replaces up to the top of the key, and the screener sucks the defense in, leaving Boone open.
Just their 4th triple of the afternoon. McBride can't answer with a 3 of his own. Threes have been hard to come by in this contest. And an offensive foul called on Oklahoma State.
Watch the ball pressure now, reaching in, not fouling, reaching, and then a little push off by Bryce Williams. You can't get away with that, but how about the harassment of Deuce McBride right there? And then you see the extension of that right arm, and no problem with that.
And it's worth noting, West Virginia will be shooting 2 free throws on every subsequent foul. McBride makes the first. Big 12 now on ESPN Plus, a must-have for Big 12 fans. Iowa State, K-State coming up later at 5 Eastern, plus the Big 12 Wrestling Championships tonight and tomorrow, and the Women's Big 12 Tournament Championship starts Thursday. If you're a Big 12 fan, you gotta have it. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com/Big12Now.
That's the ball pressure by McBride. He was harassing Bryce Williams last possession. Too much dribble, Bryce Williams. Dribbled right into traffic. That's all because of McBride. Last 2 possessions.
Back-to-back Oklahoma State turnovers. It's out of bounds.
Yep,
And West Virginia defense.
Yep, he's going to pick up full court, Rich. Watch the harassment. No fouls here. This is just solid defense. And then watch Williams try to get into traffic here. Tries to cross over. Great hands by Derek Culver. Big guys at home and pick and roll. When the offensive player tries to split the trap, drop your inside hand low where the ball is, and that's exactly what Derek Culver did right there. Perfectly done. I don't know how many big guys at home are watching, Rich.
That was a good piece of coaching by you, though, Frank.
That's how we teach it. Get that inside hand low so the offensive player can't cross you over.
Both free throws good by Johnson. 30 free throw attempts this afternoon for West Virginia, and they've made 22 of them.
Yep. Now Anderson's going to get harassed again.
Deuce McBride is just channeling Javon Carter at this point.
And now watch Deuce now. Bryce Williams had enough. Avery Anderson back in for Mike Boynton. And folks, just watch this, okay? There's no foul here, folks, okay? Now that's the foul right there by Kedrian Johnson. But for those of you at home who are complaining about officiating, he's fouling my guy. That's called good defense. That's exactly how we teach it, both ends.
And it makes you wonder, Fran, 4 minutes left. Cade Cunningham all season long has been at his very best when it's crunch time. He'd be the one most likely with the ball in his hands at this point.
Yeah, but Rich, they won 2 games without him. You know what I mean? And to your point, that's why this team has grown up. They've played without Likely and Cunningham on occasion. And don't you think, win or lose, this is unbelievable for Avery Anderson?
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Big confidence boost going into the postseason.
Absolutely. You see the zone now, a lot of pointing. They showed a zone, but it's really what we call a matchup zone, where they show zone and play man-to-man. They switch off guys.
Nice feed inside. And a foul, and we will have Taz Sherman, one of the best free throw shooters in the Big 12, going to the free throw line in a 1-point game when we come back. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5 Hour Energy, the official sponsor of Getting Stuff Done. West Virginia had to come from behind in Stillwater to get stuff done and get the win the last time these teams played. 19 down and an 87-84 win for the Mountaineers. Now they find themselves on the flip side, down 1, 3:43 to go. And number 6, West Virginia, will be going to the line with Taz Sherman. Here's a game summary if you're just tuning in, as Bob Huggins looks for win number 900, friend.
Yeah, Rich, Bob Wischusen and I were on that call, Big Monday. And what I remember about that game distinctly is in the first half, Oklahoma State looked like a team that was going to make a lot of noise this year. West Virginia came back from 19 down. And Oklahoma State, after that game, fell to 1-3 in the Big 12. And admitted, Cowboy fans, you were concerned. All they've done now is reel 9 of 13 off since then in the league, and a non-conference win over Arkansas. So kudos to this team, this young team, and their coaching staff, the way they have evolved over the course of the season, much the way the Mountaineers have. 2 really solid teams. You mentioned it, Rich, 2 of the hottest teams in this league right now.
Yep. Oklahoma State winners of 5 of 6. West Virginia winners of 7 of their last 9. There are only 2 losses in that stretch, both coming in overtime. Right now they're up 1. Looking to give Bob Huggins a milestone victory. That one's pinned. It'll be goaltending.
Great cut by Avery Anderson. He took advantage of Deuce McBride's aggressiveness. Watch this. Now Deuce is going to kind of fall asleep a little bit, and a nice pass over the top. Really well done. Deuce was so good on the ball that he let up for a possession when Avery Anderson passed it and gave it up. A sloppy pass.
Now in the corner in all sorts of trouble is Bridges. And a timeout is called by Bob Huggins in front of his own bench. 3:07 to go. Don't go anywhere. It's a nail-biter in Morgantown. For that, West Virginia with a win today could move up to the 2 line, according to Joe Lenardi, especially with that Florida State loss. But we have got ourselves a barn burner in Morgantown. No Cade Cunningham, but so far Oklahoma State has used a lot of grit, a lot of determination, and a lot of hustle from a number of players to get this 1-point lead, 74-73 with 3:06 to go, and a 5-second call on West Virginia coming out of the timeout.
Yeah, uncalled for, but great defense by Oklahoma State. What an effort today. Rich, we thought they would compete. I had no doubt they would compete, but in this situation, without 30 points and great leadership from 2 great point guards, really impressive today for the Cowboys.
West Virginia's last 5 losses, Fran, have come by an average of 3.4 points. They're down 1 with under 3 minutes to go, and now they're down 3 after that bucket.
The big fella on an air ball. And they're sitting in that zone like we talked about.
Culver trying to force the issue, and
Kuma's
a foul
gone.
is called.
Yep, Kuma's gone, and I'm trying to figure out where the foul was. Here's the air ball. Watch Kuma, right place, right time. He's having a big day today. Look at the effort he plays with. Now watch this here on the drive. I don't know. Did he stick the knee out? That's the only thing I could see. But to me, I don't know. If I was coaching at the other end of the court, I would be apoplectic right now. But that's not Mike Boynton's style.
Check the box for the SAT word from Fran Fraschilla. Apoplectic. But now, with Bernard Kuma fouled out, there are 2 frontline players on the bench. Moncrief fouled out earlier. Kuma out now. And the last 9 West Virginia points have come at the line, Fran.
And Culver's going to go after the Boone twins, who probably weigh 260 between them. The weight of Culver, but you got to be solid here if you're Avery Anderson. Remember, he's being harassed. And he's fouled.
Is called. Yeah. So that's the 2nd foul on Deuce McBride, and that'll send Avery Anderson to the free throw line already with a career high 24 to lead the Cowboys.
And not a great guy to foul either.
No, 89% from the free throw line. That's tops in the Big 12 Conference.
What a great young man. His mom and dad moved out of the lower 9th ward after Hurricane Katrina came to the Dallas area. Settled in Capel. Now they have a home in Justin, which is north of Fort Worth, up by Texas Motor Speedway. And this young man put his trust in a family in Mike Boynton, and he has gotten better and better. You see that 1-1-3 zone. It turns into a 2-3, but they'll make sure they try to cover the shooters the best they can.
Kedrian Johnson way off the mark on that 3 attempt. And a scrap for the loose ball. It's going to be a jump ball. Possession arrow, West Virginia.
Kedrian Johnson is not the guy you want shooting that ball right there. Watch Johnson now. He's not going to hit rim here, but watch the scramble inside. And there you have the hell ball.
Down low underneath, Taz Sherman for 2.
If you're West Virginia now, be solid, don't foul, secure the defensive rebound. Nothing fancy, no gambling. Good job.
Both teams in the double bonus. Possession arrow to Oklahoma State. Cowboys have 3 timeouts remaining. West Virginia 2.
And they got weapons. I like Culver, I like Sherman, I like McBride.
And it looks like we have another timeout called by Bob Huggins and the Mountaineers, and we'll take a timeout with them. 1:34 to go, 2-point game in Morgantown. Well, both of these teams are not strangers to close games. Games decided by 5 points or less. Oklahoma State's played a dozen of them, and they're 8-4 in those games. West Virginia, 11 such games, and they are 5-6. And those 4 Oklahoma State wins in overtime, Fran, have come against top 25 teams.
Not surprised.
Sherman creates some space. Only one 3-point field goal made this half by West Virginia.
That's going to be the Cowboys' ball. And I'm going to tell you something. Boone made a great defensive play. I think it was Caleb Boone. Watch the challenge on the shot. This is good inside-out basketball. Good pass. Shot fake. Step across. Look at that closeout. Terrific job of challenging the shot with that 6'8" frame. Well, the Twins are growing up.
Culver whistled for the foul. And that'll send Caleb Boone to the free throw line for the first time this afternoon.
Remember, these kids were offered a scholarship by Mike Boynton before they ever played a varsity game at Tulsa Memorial. Mike saw them when they weighed about 165 pounds, offered them a scholarship, and he said when he signed them, he said, yeah, I remember he told us, he said, these kids are going to develop into good players when they get to be juniors and seniors.
Let's go to KC in the studio quickly. Terrific basketball on this Saturday afternoon. And this is a good one indeed. 4-point lead for Oklahoma State.
Sitting in that zone, it takes away penetration. It helps on Culver inside. Way off.
That one way off the mark. And Avery Anderson has it for the Cowboys. 1 minute to go. The turnover and the bucket. Sherman.
Where did that come from? It looked like Anderson was looking down the floor, and the Shermanator, the Tasmanian Devil, the Tasmanator, whatever you call him, what a play. Let's watch right now. The ball just looked like it slipped out of Avery Anderson's hands.
Back in Morgantown, Fran Fraschilla, Rich Hollenberg. Take us inside the Oklahoma State huddle now, Fran.
It's all about protecting the ball, Rich. Remember, they're going to have to shoot it eventually. They have 20 turnovers today. So what you're doing right now, if you're Mike Boynton, is get the ball across midcourt, keep it in Anderson's hands, kill clock, get it down to low shot clock, and then try to attack and go to the basket. If you're West Virginia right now, you're going to set up, I believe, some full court pressure. We'll be able to tell you in a second. You do not need to foul. You need a stop and a defensive rebound. So throw the pressure out there. Look for a steal if they give it to you, but don't gamble so much that you commit a foul and allow Oklahoma State to go to the line and stretch this lead to 4.
Adrian Johnson, the only West Virginia Mountaineer in severe foul trouble. He has 4. They hit it into Anderson. Culver chasing Anderson. Can't catch him.
Good. Now he fell down. He called timeout. Great play by Anderson.
Timeout before the travel was called.
Wow. What a
heads-up play. Who had 2 timeouts left, was able to use one of them in an emergency situation.
Yes. Now, I think Anderson was calling it already, but remember, the coach can call it at the end of the game. Watch Anderson right here. He's calling timeout, which is a great play, and it's not a travel because he didn't have possession of the ball while he was on the floor. Mike Boynton probably verbally told Doug Sermons, but Avery Anderson, that is a smart play by the sophomore.
After that critical turnover under his own basket, a major zonk from Avery Anderson. He comes back and makes a heads-up play that time.
Absolutely. And now what you got to do if you're Oklahoma State is just get the ball inbounds. You see his buddy Chris Walker, who's out this year. Another Dallas kid. Get it in, kill some clock, keep it in Anderson's hands, and then attack downhill.
Bob Huggins is going to get number 900. He's going to do it without any fingernails left. 45 seconds to go.
Yeah, McBride's going to pressure, but no need to foul.
Now 10 on the shot clock. Anderson pulls the trigger and hits.
Time. Here we go, Rich. We told you. This league develops stars. This league develops stars.
Avery Anderson, a career high 28. And it comes without Cade Cunningham and without Ice Likely in action today.
Rich, for every Cade Cunningham or Trae Young or Kevin Durant, this league every year never disappoints as we watch sophomores, freshmen and sophomores become juniors and seniors and develop into stars. Avery Anderson is starting that today.
Fran, what does West Virginia have to do now with 30 seconds left? They get an easy 2, so it's still a 2-point game.
Too easy if you're Oklahoma State.
And a timeout is called.
How big is this shot? He milked the shot clock. We knew he would have the ball in his hands, but this is a great pull-up. Take a look, under control, step back. Now, this kid scored 2,700 points in high school, so he's used to being the man, but today he's had to be without Likely and Cunningham.
And that would be a shot that Cade Cunningham would normally hit in a situation like that. And no one loves it more than him, Fran.
Now, too easy, which gives West Virginia the open door because they're going to pressure. And now, Rich, I said earlier, with 55 seconds, you don't need to foul. Now you have to turn the heat up, look to steal the inbounds, look to trap the first pass, look to knock it loose, bring all 5 defenders up over midcourt, dare them to throw long, and then give it 5-7 seconds, and then you must foul.
Possession arrow to the Mountaineers. 1 timeout remaining for Oklahoma State. Bob Huggins is out of timeouts.
If you're Mike Boynton, you try to keep it in Anderson's hands, and they might not foul him immediately. They may trap him to make him pass it. Because as you mentioned, Rich, he's nearly 90% from the line. See, West Virginia's got all 5 up. That's good. Make them throw it deep.
Cowboys looking for their 8th quad 1 win this season. That would be tied for most in the country. And the foul is called almost immediately.
They tried to trap him, but he was too quick and he maneuvered out of the double team.
It's amazing, Fran. We talked to Mike Boynton earlier today, and he said the ball's going to be in Avery Anderson's hands a lot. He's a 3rd-tier ball handler for us, but we're trusting him today, and boy, has he delivered.
He's grown up, and he's grown up all season, Rich. This kid was 2 for 26 last year from the 3-point line. Okay. Now, Rich, I want you to know this. Historically, Bob Huggins, if they're down 3, doesn't usually go for the 2. He usually likes to set the 3 up. Obviously, if it changes on a second miss here, but if they are down 3, look for him to probe for a 3 and not get the short, quick 2.
McBride, Bridges, Sherman, they could all shoot from beyond the arc. And they're going to have to with 20 seconds left, and the Mountaineers down 3. McNeil.
See, they're looking 3.
They went inside, and it got picked off. And a timeout is called by Oklahoma State. Unbelievable defense.
Yep. You could see them looking for the 3 ball, and then McBride realizing that the defense was out, tried to thread the needle inside. They have not passed it well inside tonight. This is not a good angle. Take a look. A lot of switching, no 3 ball, and a tough angle to feed it in from that far out, Rich. When that pass is made from that deep, it's got too much helium in it.
Cade Cunningham, the #1 cheerleader on the sidelines for Oklahoma State. But the young man who made that steal, Fran, Keelan Boone, another name that Mike Boynton brought up to us before the game, saying it's his time to step up in absence of Cunningham and Likely. And boy, has he as well.
I'm going to tell you, first of all, we're looking at $899 on hold, right? 900. But see that guy? I've watched him all season from practice in October to now. Everything has been about his teammates. And when you play with Cade Cunningham, you play with confidence because he gives you confidence.
They get it into Anderson. And a foul by Osaboyan will send Avery Anderson to the line. Anderson with a game-high 29. Looking to add to that total and salt away another impressive road victory for the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
5 of their 6 top scorers are underclassmen. So if you take away Cunningham, that left them with 4 out of their 5 today, and they have stepped up.
Clutch 30 for Anderson.
I'll tell you what, Cade Cunningham's moving around pretty well in that ankle, Rich. I think we will see him next Thursday. Something tells me.
No doubt you will. The question is, what seed will the Oklahoma State Cowboys be? They could be as high as a 4 seed after a huge victory in Morgantown. That shot is off the mark, and the Cowboys have their 5th road win in the Big 12 without Player of the Year candidate Cade Cunningham. Mike Boynton beats Bob Huggins, and the victory, number 900, will have to wait for Huggy Bear. Oklahoma State wins it 85-80 for everybody here at ESPN, including Fran Fraschilla. I'm Rich Hollenberg. So long. More college hoops coming up next.